the West Midlands police, after they, disallowed the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans to come to a local football match, they were flip-flopping a little bit about the reasons for it. Originally, it was, for their security, and now it's basically that these Maccabi Tel Aviv fans, or at least part of them, are these, hooligans, these crazy people who will come and destroy our city, so we have to disallow them from coming. And the justification for that they used was, of course, the Amsterdam, what we now say was a pogrom to some extent, which wasn't a Maccabi Tel Aviv violence on the city or anything close to that. It was violence from the pro-Palestinian crowd on the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans. Thankfully, West Midlands Police, we do have a couple of claims they are making about the Amsterdam attacks, accusing the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans of doing it. We'll run through them, we'll comment on them. We'll also be joined by Razi in a bit. I'm Daniel. Welcome to the Daily Objective. But before we actually go into claims, and since we are waiting for Razi, let's look at what actually happened on Amsterdam. I save all videos whenever we cover episodes, so of course I have this from when we covered Amsterdam.
Hey, good police. What, dude? Huh? This for the children! For the children, motherfucker!
I'll give you my money, I'll give you, please go!
For the
I'll
children!
give you my money!
Free Palestine now! Free Palestine! إسرائيل الزب الزمن طبقون تعقلب الزمن طبقون ميك
رايدي مع رايد بيدا مع رايد كم
So yeah, this is what really happened. Unless you are saying that the people yelling Free Palestine while, and this is for the people on the podcast, kicking people on the ground, abusing them when they are already down, which, by the way, one of the people abused was Ukrainian. I didn't have the video here, but also throwing somebody into a river while yelling Free Palestine, running over somebody. Another video that I don't have here, but we've heard somebody saying going on a Jew hunt. Unless you are saying that these are Maccabi Tel Aviv fans, I think the truth is somewhere else. Somebody is asking, and we might as well cover this, didn't these supporters in Amsterdam actually provoke this by chanting some awful stuff? So yeah, from what I remember, one sort of incident that happened is the fans sort of like took down some Palestinian flags, and we have Razi joining, so he might remember what exactly. And yeah, there was some like chant, which again, like a chant is not a justification to commit violence or to inspire. We are joined by Razi. Razi, somebody in the chat was actually asking if the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans didn't provoke this kind of, we played the video, didn't provoke this kind of violence against them because of chants or something else. Do you have any comments on that?
Well, so yeah, the only of the things that Maccabi fans were accused of, the only thing that you can say is actually a violation of anybody's rights is the tearing down of somebody's PLO flag. Now, again, that's a Jew tearing down a modern-day swastika. That doesn't make it okay. You have a right to your property, and you have the right to express the most vile views imaginable. You can't do that. You know, a black person can't tear down a sign that says "kill all N-words," and that is free speech, and you are violating somebody's property right. But what you do when somebody violates somebody else's rights is, you call the police, and that individual can be arrested. That was the only thing that was legitimate, but it was it's not a legitimate case for what happened next, which was a Jew hunt. Remember, we compare this, we call it a pogrom or attempted pogrom. We compare it to Kristallnacht. Of course, it's not as successful, it's not as well orchestrated, it's not a government operation, but Kristallnacht was also a Jew did something, let's go after all the Jews. And this was the justification we heard at the time from the Owen Joneses of the world. The other thing that they used was the chant, which translates to something like "Let the IDF win and fuck up the Arabs." Now, I've said this last year. I'll say it again. That is a call for peace, in a sense. That is a call for let the IDF do its job and end the war. Again, let's if you said let the RAF win and fuck up the Nazis, this is exactly what this chant was. So no, there is zero justification ever for going on a Jew hunt. There was no justification for going after Maccabi fans in particular, but as a group, there was, if anything, a justification for the property owner to call the police, say their property was violated, and go after that one person. But this is not even, these are not property rights advocates. So this was not a major part of their argument.
Yeah, somebody says the pro-Palestinians take down British and English flags down in the UK. What's the problem? Again, it's the property rights issue. If you have a flag, you cannot take somebody else's property, no matter how heinous it is, unless there is some sort of like actual life-threatening situation. Although I'm not sure what kind of life-threatening situation would involve like tearing down the flag. But even then, you get police involved. You don't go on a Jew hunt, which again is exactly what happened in Amsterdam. I'm wondering if I should bring it up now or later, but do you want to go into the claims?
Well, before we go into the specific claims here that we're going to debunk, there's something that somebody commented on yesterday's episode of the reality show, and that has and essentially the comment was uh, almost verbatim repetition of what British media reported, which was look at what happened at the Tel Aviv Derby last month. It was shut down because of fans' disturbance. And this is how it was reported in the UK. And I read those stories. It wasn't just a misleading headline. In the body of the article, it at best said Maccabi Tel Aviv claims that the derby was disrupted by Hapoel fans. Now, again, this was live on television. You can see it. You can see video. The match was stopped because Hapoel Tel Aviv fans, the fans who, by the way, probably many of whom agree with many of the people who did the Jew hunt, at least as far as their, what the views that they express, um, they threw those fire, what are they called? Smoke bombs. There's a different word, but it's not coming to me right now. And they disrupted the match, and they do that, by the way, every single derby. It's usually pushed about 15 minutes because as soon as the match starts, they disrupt it. But that's what happened in that match. But of course, that's very inconvenient if you're reporting not so that people know what's going on, but you're reporting so as to create the world that you want to see. And if part of that the world you want to see is Jews not being allowed in different places, and there's an opportunity, a very real opportunity to have a high profile case where Jews want to attend an event and are not able to, you will push that lie. And this is the lie that has been pushed in British media about the Tel Aviv derby as a part of the overall case against Maccabi Tel Aviv fans. Now, football fans, including Maccabi Tel Aviv fans, do things that are unnecessary and bad. But no, Maccabi fans are in no way unique and probably less disruptive than many of the notorious, really notorious fan clubs around the world and around Britain. There's matches between clubs like West Ham and Millwall. I think they've done at least two movies about the rivalry there, right, and the hooligans and what happens there. And luckily, they're not in the same league, so we don't get to see that match very often. Uh, but yeah, this is. Maccabi was targeted because they're Jews. That is as clear as day, and becomes clear when you look at the case that was made for banning Maccabi fans.
Oh yeah, and We could bring up more examples. The Israeli Philharmonica in Paris that was disrupted by pro-Palestinian protesters. Was the music too loud? Were they disrupting? Like, what are the justifications here for them doing something like that? So no, it's specifically Jews are, and again, right? The plans to disrupt the match in Amsterdam did what happened before the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans came in. They were planning. There was a protest being planned before that was cancelled by the police, by the local police, because they were afraid of what it would happen if you allow these pro-Palestinian protests come. Just because there are Maccabi Tel Aviv fans, just because there are some Israelis coming into the city. So again, this would have happened whether or not a flag was torn down or whether or not some anti-terrorist chant would have been chanted.
So, before I go, and we're going to go through this Times article quickly. Susie replies to somebody who's not justifying but explaining why it was right to ban Maccabi fans. Susie says, "Do you also apply that standard to Charlie Kirk's killer, that his words explain his death? Words and chants aren't violence nor justification for violence." Yeah, I don't know about this particular individual, but yes, I mean that was applied to Charlie Kirk's death. I mean, people that there are people who say straight up, words are violence. If words are violence, violence can be self-defense against words. So yeah, these people have to justify the fact that violence is their brand, and it always has been their brand, and it's not unique to them. It's not unique not to the left. It's not unique to Islam, but this coalition of people who think violence is the way. They won this one because the police sided with him. All right, article. Okay, so the Times article is titled "Police quote used fake claims to ban Maccabi fans from Aston Villa game. Dutch officers dismiss as untrue accusations that Israeli team supporters included quote highly organized, skilled fighters who threw people into a river." That part is absolutely amazing because as far as I know, that only happened to Maccabi fans. It was only Maccabi fans who were thrown into the river. So yeah, this is again, it's not some asshole on Twitter who's pretending they're in one place and they're actually a different person in another place. This is the police going on based on such reports. Okay, let's read the story. British a British
Do you
police
want to
force.
read the whole story? It has summarized claims in like the middle of it.
All right.
I'm not sure if I have time to read the whole thing.
Okay, let's go to the summary. By the way, are we able to go over for this and then
Sure.
with TRS? Okay, let's if you want to go to the summary, we can start with the summary. Do you have it right in front of you, or should I?
Yeah. So just a clarification. Basically, there isn't like Midlands Police didn't publish like this is the reasons why we banned them. They are refusing to do so because I think security reasons or whatever. So a lot of these claims are either from the parliamentary sessions that I've seen some of them, or different press briefings where they commented on it. So this is like a compilation of all of them with the Dutch response.
Yeah.
Should I read it or do you have it?
Well, I got it. So the first claim, and this one is amazing because the Dutch response that I saw somewhere in the article was, pretty much said, stated the obvious. So it said the claim was 200 Israelis were, quote, linked to the IDF. Now, I don't know. Did anybody elaborate what linked to the IDF? Actually, I don't think there was a need for that, right? But the response, and this was the Dutch response. We did not investigate any IDF backgrounds. Most young men in Israel have some connection to the IDF, but we did not investigate it, and we don't have a number for that. Yeah, that is ridiculous. There is conscription in Israel. Many people, most people do go to the IDF. So, but the idea that this is somehow a claim, imagine again, the IDF is the military force fighting against Islamic terrorism more than any other. Imagine, during the Iraq War, saying, we're not going to allow British soldiers in, people with links to the British Army. This is what that claim is. And the fact that you can say something like, this person might have links to the IDF, and in today's culture in Britain, that is a statement where it is understood. It doesn't need to be explained. It is understood that this is a bad thing, rather than something to applaud and thank the soldiers. Is really really shockingly bad.
Yeah, so this part comes from the report, from the confidential report from the police. So this is the whole section. The most significant recent match was played in Amsterdam in November 2024 against Ajax. 2,800 Israeli fans traveled to the fixture, over 200 of which were linked to the Israeli Defense Forces. Significant numbers of Maccabi fans were actively involved in demonstrations and confrontations. That's it. That's the whole section about this specific claim. So I mean, I don't know what the like police is going here. Is like a association with IDF like a problem here? Is that the claim that simply because you are associated with the IDF, which again might have been, you just did your time in a, it's not a punishment. You did your service in the IDF or whatever, and that somehow, automatically. And also the number seems weird, like 2,800 Israelis and only 200 of them were identified with the IDF. It's like, it's a weird number. But again, it's, the official position of the United Kingdom government isn't that IDF is some problematic group. It's a ally. I mean, United Kingdom is helping with intel in Gaza to the Israeli Defense Forces. Why is like the West Midlands Police like a separate government that has like its own foreign policy, its own designations of what groups are, or is it part of the British system? Like the fact that something like this can even come up and is I mean it's crazy.
Yeah. My only guess, because they obviously don't elaborate on where they get their details and what they mean by those claims, is that this also came from the Hind Rajab Foundation we mentioned yesterday, the Belgian charity for hunting Jews who are involved in the IDF. They specifically go through the social media posts and so on. So maybe they had 200 people that they somehow linked to specific activities in Gaza. But again, even trying to explain, it's not my job to explain this. It's your job, Midlands Police. And apparently, you don't have to do your job because you got away with it somehow. And again, they got away with it. Not only that the match went ahead without visiting fans, which is scandalous. That is a scandal, because if you cannot guarantee the safety of fans, then you cannot host football matches. And by the way, I remember there was talks about England hosting a future World Cup or Euro after Euro 2000, Euro 2020. The final was in Wembley Stadium in 2021 because 2020 everything was postponed. It was England against Italy, and Italy won. And then Italian fans were attacked on their way out. First of all, many fans rushed the gates and got in for free. It's unbelievable that in 2021 Britain can't, secure a stadium so that only people with tickets get in. And then Italian fans were attacked. There was one person kicked in the head. It was absolutely atrocious. So that should have been a red flag. Israeli teams cannot host their matches in Israel because of the war. Because understandably, other teams are concerned about traveling to Israel. How this is not a thing in England, which may not be at war or may not be at a war that it acknowledges, but cannot guarantee the safety of people going to an event. It couldn't guarantee it in the Euro finals, and it couldn't guarantee it in this case. And yeah, this match again, this is on UEFA. Should have been moved. Should have been moved, like the matches have been moved from Turkey, because Turkey can't guarantee the safety of Jews either. Thank you, Bonnie, for the super chat.
Do you want to go to the next claim?
Sure. So the claim is some 500 to 600 of them deliberately targeted, quote, Muslim communities. And the Dutch response was, and this is again from this summary, it would be small groups in the city that would get into fights. I don't have a number on how many actually partook in disorder. I don't even know what that response means, but I don't know. Look, uh, this is not, proof that nothing happened, but people tend to video everything they do. And like the Jew hunt that Moroccan communities in Amsterdam talked about going on. They videoed themselves before. They live streamed themselves doing it. There's security cameras everywhere. Is there any evidence whatsoever to this other than a potential claim again by the Hind Rajab Foundation, which is not a reliable source of information on anything. It's a bigoted, anti-Semitic organization with solely one purpose, which is to intimidate and arrest Jews.
Yeah, I mean specifically when it comes to sort of the damages that came from the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans. I mean, yeah, there are people are saying that like the taxi drivers were attacked. We have the video of the Palestinian flag, for example. I haven't seen anything about the taxi driver. I know there were Israelis arrested. None of them were charged. So we have no charges when it comes to the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans. We do have charges for the pro-Palestinians. We have several of them. I think there's at least like 10 people. I think in total a few dozens were arrested, and I think about 10 were actually charged. So we go but what we have. I'm not saying that. I mean, it's a football fans. It's they do crazy
Well,
stuff,
there's
but we don't have anything.
what we do know about taxi drivers in Amsterdam was that they coordinated and told each other and told the Muslim savages who went on these attacks where the Jews are. We know that people in hotels where Maccabi fans were staying told them. We know that in a casino, like Muslim gangs were told that there are Jews right now in this casino. Come here and attack them. This is stuff that is known that came out back then. But this again, the way the story progressed from immediately when it happened, people like that despicable reporter on Sky News, I forget her name, but she is, last I checked, still with Sky News, who made up stuff to the point that even Sky, a massively anti-Israel channel, had to retract her whole story and like take it off the internet. uh, Even it was that outlandish what she said, but it was still repeated elsewhere. It was covered by the likes of Owen Jones, who we're going to talk about on a different topic in the reality show. And they've had a year from that match, a year and a week between, I think, between the Maccabi match in Amsterdam against Ajax and the Maccabi match in Birmingham against Aston Villa. And they've had time to come up with all this stuff to actually not even it's not even that they came up with stuff. It's that they saw what was done by their people, by the military wing of their people, let's say, and switched it all around. They literally flipped it over. Taxi drivers were involved, not as victims, but as perpetrators. Uh, uh, Muslim communities were involved, not as victims, but as perpetrators. They told us so. They showed the video. They videoed themselves. They weren't like your run-of-the-mill criminals in the night in a dark alley trying to get away with it. They wanted the world to see, like their heroes in Hamas wanted the world to see, because they know what kind of scum they can attract and get on their side. And yeah, it worked.
Um, yeah, I mean, do you want to go to the next claim? I wanted to say something. Oh, it's Ajax. Screw this, like football club names. It's always like different than it
That's
should
the
be.
Dutch language.
I
That is
know.
how the J is
That's
pronounced.
my
Don't blame football for that. There's other things you can blame football for. Yeah, again, this goes to my last point of flipping things around. The claim is Maccabi fans threw members of the public into the river. Um, Wow.
want to
Okay.
play that.
Response from the Dutch police is, we have evidence of one case where you can hear someone say, "Yell free Palestine," and then you can leave. Then we'll get you out. It's very weird how it's presented in this summary, but what happened there was a Maccabi fan was thrown by savages into the river at when it's freezing, and you can actually die from that. Um, and they said, "Yell free Palestine," and we go, and then he did, and they left. And but it was, you will repeat these words, or we will kill you. That was the claim, and unbelievable that the people at West Midlands Police who uh, used this stuff, used this blood libel of the Jews did what we saw done to them. uh, I don't think firing them is enough, and I don't think firing them is going to happen. But I don't think firing them is going to be enough because they actively participated in not just preventing a specific group from attending events, but also in the kind of blood libel that will make Maccabi fans specifically, but Jews generally, because this is another claim against Jews, uh, less safe wherever they go.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm wondering to what extent it is coming from, central authority. Because if the choices you have is, let's say the police department like doesn't have enough money or doesn't have enough resources to properly, like engage with the event, the easiest thing to do is just tell, okay, nobody come and we don't have to deal with that. Now again, that if that is truly the problem, the thing you should want to worry about is the fact that you don't have enough funding, not the fact that, oh, we just will disallow certain population or certain kind of population will not have access to certain areas anymore. I mean, that's that's not okay. And again, this might be sort of like a more central issue of generally the British government or generally the police of Britain doesn't really want to engage properly with upholding order. It might be a bigger issue, but again, this is how it shows itself. And when it shows itself, you should have a proper response, not we just won't allow Jewish people to come into our city.
Yeah. Okay. The next claim is Dutch police deployed 5,000 officers. The response from the Dutch police in total, we came to 1,200 in different shifts, though about 1,200 were deployed. I read 5,000 police. That number is not true. I don't know what this claim even means. But again, if you are explaining why you cannot do your job, then Britain is not fit for purpose, is not a safe place. At least the West Midlands is not a safe place where you can safely have football matches, and then you just don't. And look, it's for better or worse. I mean, you can't have UEFA matches in Russia, I think for very good reasons, and Russian teams are not involved and not participating. You can't have football matches in Ukraine, also for good reason, through no fault of Ukraine. There's war there, and Ukraine cannot guarantee the safety of anybody. And again, during the war, absolutely made sense that Israeli teams can't host matches in Israel and have to play in places like Hungary and Serbia because they couldn't guarantee the safety. Uh, Again, if you can have matches in West Midlands, even though the safety of attendees isn't guaranteed. Uh, at the very least, UEFA, you allow this to go on. How about you quickly change the location of Maccabi's match tomorrow against Lyon to Israel because it's a home match, and the safety, the likelihood of anybody being in danger, Maccabi fan or Lyon fan in Tel Aviv, is much lower than any Jew being in danger in the Islamic capital of Britain, Birmingham.
So somebody said no footage. We played footage at the start. Do you want to play the canal clip specifically?
No need. No, no, no. I don't think every trolling deserves. I mean, they deserve attention when they're entertaining, and but no, come on. There's people on Twitter say there's no footage of October 7th. You keep saying so many Jews were died. How come there's not even one single video? But of course, the Palestinian people provided us with hundreds, if not thousands, of videos on that day that flooded social media. So yeah, again, there's no evidence as far as they're concerned of October 7th. There's no evidence of the Holocaust. There's no evidence of 9/11 being done by the people who told us they did it and have been telling us before and ever since that all they want is to kill us. So yeah, these people find evidence for stuff in their own imagination and don't find it when it's right in front of them. So the next claim was Israelis were, quote, highly organized, skilled fighters with a serious desire and will to fight with police and opposing groups. And the response was the Amsterdam police does not recognize the claim. This is, uh, again, this is the kind of thing that as a headline is fine, but then you have to fill the body of the article. And as a police, you have to fill the body of the claim that you're making in order to push something that is absolutely unacceptable unless you have, by the way, when teams, this happens many times a year. Teams fans, go overboard, and then they close some of the stands. They close the whole stadium. I once went to a Maccabi match in Ukraine against Dynamo Kiev, and Dynamo Kiev fans had caused some trouble months earlier, and the stadium was emptied. Somehow, Maccabi got tickets, like VIP tickets for the few fans, and there was like 200 people in a 80,000 seat stadium. But it happens. Sometimes you close a stadium. This is a reason to, at the very least, close a stadium. If Maccabi fans can't get in, local fans can't get in. If the police can't guarantee people's safety, you can't have an event. That's how it is. And again, if the police before that they were claiming that what was the original claim was that they're worried about the safety of Maccabi fans. That was originally the claim. Maccabi fans are going to be in danger because Palestinians might do something, and this goes back to the uh,
Specifically, that the police had information that, there's some rambling, some talking about, something happening.
yeah, yeah. And again, police, I'm sure, does have information, and I'm absolutely sure that this is. I think I said on a show a couple of months ago after the draw, that I travel to Maccabi matches and I'm not traveling to Birmingham because I'm afraid for my own safety, even though it's like, 2 hours by train. So uh, yeah, you can't ensure the safety. This goes back to what Keir Starmer said after the Manchester terrorist attack. And again, he condemned this decision and called it anti-Semitic by the West Midlands police. But after the terrorist attack, he said we are going to send police to defend Jews in Jewish areas, rather than saying, what a good leader would say, which is there's a problem here. And the problem specifically here is Islamic terrorism. We are going to send police to solve that problem. And the solution to that problem is to acknowledge who the enemy is and fight against it. This would have been the solution here. It's weird that Palestine Action, a terrorist organization, was finally prescribed a terrorist organization, and people get arrested by holding a sign "I support Palestine Action," which they absolutely should get arrested for. But somehow, when you're actually planning more terrorist attacks, it's not just Palestine Action who are terrorists. It's many, many in the pro-Palestine camp who are actual terrorists or would-be terrorists. And yeah, this is what the police should look into. These are the people who are causing violence. You don't see, pro-Israel demonstrations getting violent. You don't see, Maccabi fans going around attacking people. You saw a fan tearing down a flag. That was it. So let's start fighting against the people, the perpetrators. Um, Daniel.
Yeah, I mean, again, just to I guess summarize, uh, if your goal is to, to limit violence or to prevent violence or to limit sort of aggressive situations, when you look at and you're using Amsterdam story for it, again, super majority of people who were both arrested and charged were from the pro-Palestinian side, not from the Maccabi Tel Aviv side, not from the Israeli side. Actually, nobody on the Israeli side was even charged with anything. So the idea that you use it, these like phantom Jews, they come in, they destroy stuff, and they get out before like anybody can charge them, despite the fact that some of them were arrested and were let go after. Uh, Again, you're lying to yourself, and of course this is what West Midlands police is doing. It's lying about what is actually happening, about who is actually the perpetrator of violence when it comes to surrounding these matches. Again, like the pro-Palestinian crowds are talking to each other on messaging platforms before the Maccabi Tel Aviv fans come in about what they are going to do when they come.
Yeah. Thank you, PC, for the super chat. PC says, Razi, it's all woke. The police are woke, communists by now. By the way, there is a possible bug in YouTube today. Some features missing only on desktop. We'll look into it later. There have been reports of bugs in the last few days on all sorts of stuff with our shows, so we'll look into that. But yeah, anything else on this topic, Daniel? And actually, to PC's point, uh, yeah, I usually when you say about something that it's woke, I kind of challenge it because woke is bad, but not everything bad is woke. And even the you know communist connection, I keep thinking what would Marx do if he saw the trans movement and so on. But yeah, so but yeah, with the police, it's definitely wokeness. There is that kind of there is wokeness in the hiring policies. There's no doubt about it. And so yeah, you wonder to what extent through DEI or what have you, uh, the West Midlands police is just it's filled with Muslims who saw an opportunity, took it, and even criticism of their decision isn't going to specifically result in looking into them, because if you look into them and you find out that the problem is Muslims infiltrating the police force, and you say it, you're going to be accused of racism.
Yep, I've already said my last lines.
All right. Yeah, I'm just trying to filibuster because I know what's coming next, but I think we are 7 minutes over, so it has to happen. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Owen Jones was talking about Melanie Phillips, and we're going to talk about that. This is a bit different because this clip, and the second half of it, Owen Jones was right. Uh, but being Owen Jones, even when he's right, he's wrong. We're going to talk about that. We're mostly going to talk about the first half of it, but we will go through some of what he says, and it's going to be fun. Thanks, Daniel. Thanks, everybody, for watching. The reality show starts in a couple of minutes.